I am delighted to be joined by Marc McDermott. Thank you for joining us today. You are presenting at the NLP conference in 2024, and your topic is complex meta-programming, understanding the patterns of purpose. So very curious about this, especially around purpose. So please do start, Marc, by telling us a little bit about yourself and your presentation.
Yeah, sure. And thanks for having me back at the conference. I do love coming to the conference, and I love sharing the benefits of where I develop each year. That's something that always excites me personally. So I guess at the beginning, I'm a master trainer of NLP and a master trainer of hypnosis and a few other modalities along the way. And I've been around for about just on 27 years now, which is one of the only things I've ever done for that length of time.
Oh, yeah.
And it's all day, every day for me. I'm an all-in kind of guy. So one of the things that I push towards my own students, for example, is awareness. So that's essentially, the nub of previous presentations has been along those lines as well, that the more aware you are as a person, the more choice you have. And of course, the flip side of that is that you can't know what you're unaware of that you don't know. Yeah. And so that relies on finding someone that you trust on the outside to be able to give you feedback that's useful for that growth. And obviously with my own work, I've worked in prisons extensively. I've worked in schools extensively, very different environments.
Yes. Well, some would argue not.
At the end of the day. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm very interested in work and very, very rewarding work. I've worked in the film industry, at the top end of the film industry, so very different use for the skills. But all the way along it, I'm the person that's been the constant in my universe. And so no matter what the environment is, I think it's good to be able to work out what's going on around in terms of relationships, and awareness of those relationships, and how best to, for example, select the right person for the right job, if I'm talking about business, is really important. And it sounds so obvious, but if you don't know why you're selecting someone for the job and then wondering why they leave within 2 years when they seem really happy, and all it is that you just don't know that you maybe hiring people that are like you, so you like them. But then their meta programs are saying, hey, I'm out the door in 2 years. So by choosing a different type of person in that instance, if that's what you want to keep your staff, then it might be about, at the beginning, at the hiring stage, hiring the right person in terms of these filters. You don't even have to sack the others because they've already got their eye on another job anyway. So so they're on the way out.
Yeah.
So I guess what the awareness thing, it's down to that, the awareness things, the patterns of purpose. I called it that because more and more as I've been developing and growing myself, I've realized that at the basic level that we all know and love, we can help people at the very conscious level with literally the results that they're getting. In terms of business, it's always about the bottom line, but in terms of relationships, it's not, it's different. But it's still results, and the results that someone's getting may not be the results that they want. Otherwise, they wouldn't. Why would they be coming to me in the first place, right? So they must know what they are as well somewhere, because otherwise they wouldn't know that what they had wasn't what they wanted.
Yeah.
So this is going on at the unconscious level. We as people who are more trained, of course, understand that at whatever level we understand it at, but someone who comes to me as a fresh client has no idea what that is at all. So we can help at the basic level with the getting different results, deciding what those results are, and so on and so forth, keys to achieve outcome, etc., etc., etc. We can help them with anchoring and submodality shifts and all of these wonderful gifts that we can help people with very, very easily. But then what drives those things? So what drives someone's behavior to get results differently? And their belief systems and their attitudes are going to drive the behavior. I'm more likely to learn how to play the guitar if I believe that I'm likely to be able to do it. I'm learning Japanese at the moment. I actually believe I can do that, and I'm doing pretty well. If I didn't believe I could do it, I might not turn up at university again. And why am I even at university when I've been in education for most of my life? Because I'm still pushing out there, right? So values are behind that. Values, and I've pushed at values in the last couple of years because the values are going to be what drives that, and it's on the edge of the awareness. If we ask someone, what their values are in the context of a relationship, they can tell us, but they might not have actually thought about it before being directly asked the question, but the information's there.
Yeah.
But, you know, I keep coming back to the communication model, because I think everything is in that one model, and part of those filters, you know, everything I've just said is there. But what about this meta program thing? What's that all about? And of course, I've found that a lot of people that I've taught love it when they go through it, and then kind of put it on the shelf and, oh, it's a bit complicated, that, you know, oof, complex meta programs. Maybe we should have called them the simple meta programs, you know. But anyway, it's in the languaging. So I found that people weren't applying it to themselves, and this is back to the awareness thing.
Mm.
So how can they, you know, they've done a master prac, they've learned what they are. They should have learned, if I teach them, they do know what their meta programs are. So I assume that a lot of other people are doing that as well. But then what do they do with that information? How do they go forwards with that information? So I keep hammering my students about, you know, apply to self, apply to self, apply to self. How can you take what these unconscious filters are, these filters that are content free, that are driving your behavior somehow, and connecting everything that I've just said to your purpose?
Yeah.
And what's that? Because if you haven't got any idea about that, then how do you know that the results are going to be what you actually want them to be? Somewhere in there is purpose, and then that's going to decide what meta programs are in operation and how they change over time, because they're not fixed. And that's going to drive the values, where I start to become aware of what's important to me. And that's the critical thing for me. So I've always been one for identifying what someone's purpose is. For example, in prison work, you know, a lot of them didn't have any idea what the purpose was, but once they got that and kind of got it connected somewhat to their results, then we can start to fill in the in-between bit. And I found that meta programs was supremely easy, in fact, and very important to know how I can motivate someone over time. Because if they've got to make a change, if you want to give up smoking, like, yeah, okay, an hour and it's done, whatever, you know, phobia, it's done, it's whatever. But you want to make an incremental change, like you want to establish a business from scratch, or you want to change your relationship maybe completely. That's not going to be an hour after seeing me. There's going to be effort involved. You know, to become a master trainer took 5 years for me. So that's a long time to become focused and self-motivated.
Yeah.
You know, so what helps with that? What are my motivation packages? How do people help me through that process? And particularly when I move into a coaching relationship with someone, then for me, the supremely quick way into someone is to get into their values and their meta programs, because that's the stuff that's driving at the unconscious level.
Yeah.
What they're actually getting. So to me, it's like a lot of people I teach are concentrating on the stuff that everyone can be aware of. And I'm more interested in, yeah, we can do that, but if I change someone's values in a context, their beliefs are going to change big time. So why not get in at that deeper level with someone and do that? So for me, particularly, it works with, well, it works with everyone, but where I really enjoy it is with the coaching relationship with people. Yeah. And that comes out mostly in terms of their own relationships and or business. So it's super simple, but to me, it's the thing that unfolds.
Yes.
How do you become aware of what you don't know you're unaware of?
Yeah.
And that would be what I would love to introduce people to. That's the purpose of
that's the purpose of the
presentation.
So what practical learnings will delegates take away from your session, Mark?
Yeah, so obviously I can happily only present my version of where it's all at for me. But I do think I've got a reasonable amount of experience behind myself now to have an opinion that's mine, and maybe an unusual or different take on it from the way that people presented it even to me in the first place, because I'm on this mission to make people accountable to themselves. That's why I love coaching and I love training. I set a very high bar, but also I want to make things simple. Like really, really simple. I've worked lots and lots with children down as young as 6, and all of this stuff works perfectly with them as well. So obviously I could believe it wouldn't, but that would be a limiting belief, right? So if I can make it simple enough for a 6-year-old to understand, then anyone can understand it. And that's my point, not to dumb it down, but to just get to what is actually happening and to make that an everyday experience, because out there, you know, is an everyday experience.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but I don't have an off switch. So it's the person at the cash till at the supermarket. It's the person at the bus stop if I'm waiting for a bus. It's everyone, not just when I'm being paid. It's how can you go about being what I call a secret agent of change, going about secretly making people's lives better just because you can. And maybe in that 30-second conversation that I have at a restaurant table with the waiter, they just present me with something which, if they became aware of what they just said, that would change for them. So if you know where to tap with the hammer, why not tap with the hammer? You know, it's
Absolutely.
the little hammer, not the not the sledgehammer.
Not the sledgehammer. Yes.
So I guess what people will get from it is they'll get a really, for me, a very simple but very in-depth view of what the basic patterns are, plus the extra patterns that come from the original work of Jung and Myers-Briggs. So a little bit of that in there as well, and a little bit of what when Tad James presented it to me, he kind of presented a few extra bits on the end of it. So all of that becomes itself a demonstration on how to pull that information from someone in 6 to 8 minutes, which I think is great. Simple, straightforward, no brainer, and you're getting those details from someone, and then to set it as an exercise for the delegates so that they get to work with each other and 6 to 8 minutes work out what each other's meta programs are, which is just a wonderful thing if you've never had it done, to start to understand. Everyone can understand a simple thing like, you know, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert or something like that. I mean, you know, that, okay. But even people who think that they're introverts might not actually be really that way. It's just that they're considering themselves that. But in the context of all the other meta programs, maybe it's actually the environment. And that can make a difference. So if I do a chain of anchors to make someone motivated who's hesitating and it's not running, well, it should run. So the only reason it's not running is something else is happening. So maybe you need to look at the meta programs, and maybe actually I'm not getting them motivated in the right way.
Right.
And therefore I'm actually holding back my own work with someone by doing something that's countering it. And once I'm aware of that, I can help someone to move in that direction, and then everything moves smoother. It's just having all the right pieces in all the right places, really. So there'll be a set of questions that everyone will get as well, so they can run through it, make it so easy that, you know, a child can do it. But it's not whether it's difficult to do or not that makes it valuable. It's the information that it reveals and what you can actually do with that. That's the thing that makes it mind-blowing. You know which of your clients are going to turn up late. You know which ones are going to be motivated and go through things. You know why that relationship is working that way between those two people, because that person's got an external direction filter and that person's got an internal direction filter, and many other things besides. And therefore I need to be told, maybe if I've got an external filter, that I'm doing a good job in order to know I'm doing it. Whereas someone else, they don't care what you say because they know damn well whether they're doing a good job or not. They don't need it. Now, to know which ones are which as a manager, that's gold.
It's helpful.
But it's not that person's weak. They just need to be told they have an external filter. That's all. Simple. You know, and to become flexible so you can work on the things, or I've certainly worked on things that I needed to work on to be more flexible. You know, I'm a high introvert, but I can't be that on a stage, can I? So not what you want, you know.
Not ideal. So is there anything that delegates can do before your session to sort of give them a deeper understanding of, or a deeper experience during your session?
Yeah. I mean, we are talking about the basic, I think there's 19, if I remember off the top of my head, meta programs. So they're in any book. You can go and look at them. I would think that I mean, you can come with you know, just go, hey, I'm just going to go in there, and you'll still get what you get from it, right? But if you already have training, you already have knowledge of the meta programs, and even if you haven't, if you just go and look it up, I mean, it's a Google away. The information's everywhere, right? But information's not the experience, and that's the thing. Information's not the experience. Otherwise, we wouldn't need to train people.
Yeah.
You could just read it in a book and do it, and that's just not how it works, right? It's just information. So to get what I call actionable intelligence is to have something loaded up in the head before you come. So just a quick review of meta programs, the complex ones, before coming in is going to really help, because I'm going to give my version of it. And yes, I'll name them, but at the same time, I think that a child doesn't care what the names of those filters are, or even if there are filters.
Yeah.
So that's not the important thing, apart from as a professional to speak professionally with another professional, which is useful information. But if a child changes their behavior and they frankly don't even care why, they're just getting better results.
Yes.
Which may be to not be in trouble with their parents anymore, because they now have chosen to get a different result.
Yeah.
But they've made that choice based on information which I've helped them to become aware of. That's the beauty of it, really. So yeah, if someone does have a look at those programs before they come in the door, that's going to really help.
Wonderful.
Oh, and bring a sense of humor. Yeah,
bring a sense of humor. Always important.
I can install one if someone doesn't have one, but yeah, have a sense of humor, because it's important information. But I take the work really, really seriously, but I don't take myself seriously. And I think that that's actually a problem that some people have, is terminal seriousness,
Yes. So what inspired you, Mark, to want to present at the NLP conference?
Over the years, I've been to various conferences without presenting, and to me it's almost like, update, plus that opportunity to discover someone's opinion that's completely different and new and fresh and exciting. And I think the conferences, they're like a festival, really, of the mind. You might just look and go, well, I don't know about any of those things at 3 o'clock, but that one sounds interesting, and go and have a look and a listen and find out what you find out. And the thing is, you can't lose, because the information's going to be great. But on top of that, we're all helping each other. There's a saying in the East of iron sharpens iron. And I can't remember exactly how to say that in Japanese at the moment, but tetsu something or other. Anyway,
I wouldn't know.
The point is, iron sharpens iron. So we as professionals can help other professionals to enhance their own abilities by sharing our viewpoint, our perspective on what's happening. And that's the thing that I really love about it. So what I'm going to be presenting is a new version of what I've been presenting. I completely rewrote the way I presented meta programs this year, because of my own development. I think it worked far better and got people into what they can actually do with it a lot quicker. And also because when I first learned it, it's been a slow creeper. It's been a slow creeper for me. At first, I was one of those people that was glad to get through the section and kind of put it to the side. And I couldn't understand why some people were really, really raving about it. I mean, I understood it, but over particularly the last 3 years, I think it's crept up more and more to that point of realization that, hang on, meta programs is sitting there between values and purpose.
Yes. Yeah.
And so it's that important, because this is operation outside of the awareness of someone. And here's the thing, and this is why it's so important, I think, to present it at the conference, and why I love presenting it, and this will be the first time I present it like this at a conference anyway, it'll be at yours, is, like I say, it's about awareness. Yeah. It's about awareness at the end of the day. And I probably attend, with all my training and everything else, probably, if I'm being really generous, about 5% of my awareness I'm probably attending. I'm being really honest there, right? and I would love to say it was more, but the fact is, people can say things and I'm like, what? And the only reason I've done that is because I wasn't attending myself in that moment, or I wouldn't have responded in that way. And the problem is, when my parents were growing up and before I developed my critical faculty, I didn't know which things they were attending and which things they weren't. So I just took the lot. Yeah. And that defined at least the basics of the meta programs, which I still operate from to this day. So to become aware of them is to become not free of them, but to become aware of them, and then to choose and to change, because they're not fixed. Yes. And hopefully then I pass on a level of awareness to the people who come after me that's better than that, so that over time we fill in that gap. between conscious and unconscious a little bit more with the information. And that's what really drives me. And that's why I love coming to the conference. So I can give that because I'm passionate about it.
Yeah.
And I know that all these other people that are there are passionate about their subject as well. It always blows me away just how much depth and variety can come from the field. And all these people are passionate. And we're all passionate because we are growing a field. It's a relatively new field still. I mean, I know it's not brand new, but it's still a relative first generation field.
Yeah.
And that's really exciting, you know, because stuff has developed over thousands of years, but really in the last 50 years, you know, and in this case, since Carl Jung, you know, as the psychological archetypes start to write down and encodify experience. But there's so much that hasn't been written and encodified yet.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the exciting thing, that between us, we're all out there looking for it, to find it, to encodify it and pass it on as quickly as possible. You know, I'm an open book. I don't hold back on stuff. You know, if you're not paying for it, I just like, no, what's that about? That's a different mindset. I want to give it out to everyone as quickly as possible. And that's the thing I love about the conference, is that everyone who's involved is doing that. I mean, what more could you want? It's just fantastic.
Exactly. Thank you. So to remind people watching, Marc is presenting at the virtual element of the NLP conference. Marc is presenting on Sunday, the 11th of February, nice and bright and early at 0900 hours. That will be GMT, because the clocks will still be in GMT at that time. And Marc's topic is complex meta programming, understanding the patterns of purpose. So thank you so much, Marc, for joining me today. It's been a real privilege to learn more about your presentation, and very much looking forward to seeing you in February.
More than welcome. Glad to be here. See you in February. Yeah.